is Jerome Ellis from his new album, Vesper Sparrow. We found Jerome at home in Norfolk, Virginia, where he explains what granular synthesis is, how he uses his stutter as a musical instrument, and who the folks are that he has dedicated the 6 different tracks of the album to.
All of them are artists who inspire me, and the way that I chose the different tracks was each track, there's like a specific connection with each of the artists. So like on Savannah Sparrow, Kanita is among many things an amazing vocalist and has taught me a lot about singing and how to sing with one's heart. And so the singing on that song is very much guided by her.
Oh,
and
nice.
and so each one has sort of a intention behind it. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so it's kind of interesting talking to you after listening to especially the first 2 tracks, because in those tracks you kind of tell your story, so I don't have to ask the questions.
Yeah.
but I do kind of want to go in. I'm sure you've done this explaining granular synthesis before to other folks, but for people here in New Zealand, they probably haven't heard about it. Briefly go through what that's all about, if you don't mind.
Yes, thank you. No, thank you so much. Well, granular synthesis, I don't even know much about it, which is something that I kind of like. I'm still very much learning about it. But it's a method of shaping audio, and
Right.
the way that I do it is through a software program called Cycles, which is created by this really amazing company called Slate and Ash, based in the UK. And in Cycles, I use it on my computer within another music software called Ableton Live.
Oh yes, heard of that one.
Yes. And in Cycles, what I can do is I can upload into it any audio, and through a series of parameters, I can transform that audio. And the way it works is that as I share on a bit on Evensong, is the software, it breaks the audio into tiny snippets of sound that they call grains. And so once you have these snippets, it's like sampling, in that you break the audio up, and so then when you have these snippets, you can rearrange the snippets. So
these snippets, do you know what they are, what they sound like? Can you manipulate each individual one, or how does it work?
Yes, exactly. And so at the end of track 1, you hear some of the snippets. It's when it goes quiet, and then there's like duh, 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 duh. So those are the snippets, and then as you get into track 2, then I start to transform them. But
Gotcha.
you can choose how long the snippet is. Like it can be a millisecond or 2 milliseconds, 3 milliseconds. So Cycles gives you a lot of control. But that's that's based that's sort of the core principle. But it's then the possibilities are there's a very wide range.
I can imagine. Yeah, because I just had a discussion with a guy who makes music out of AI, which is obviously different than what you're talking about here, but at the same time he had like 5,000 different options, and it depended on what he asked for, and he had all these parameters that he could work with as well. So do you have any opinions about AI generated music?
Well, thank you for asking. I am I feel like I feel like I don't have anything really coherent to say.
Right.
I feel like it's like something I'm actively thinking about, but but haven't reached a place where I can really say, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But thank you for asking. Yeah.
we'll check back with you on that.
Yeah. Check back with me in a year or two.
Now, is it safe to say that your main instrument is your saxophone?
Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
tell me about your relationship with the sax.
Yes. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's the instrument that I've been playing the longest. I started when
Right.
I was 13, and um, I think part of what drew me to it was I had recently like fallen in love with jazz around the age of 12 or so, and so I was interested in of course the role that saxophone plays in a lot of jazz, and I think I had played the violin for a year in when I was 10. We had a strings program at our elementary school, and so everybody had to play a string instrument for the year. And I liked it, but it didn't quite take, you know. And then when I started playing the saxophone, it immediately took. And I don't really know why. Well, I think yeah. I mean, maybe I just have an affinity for it, more so than for the violin. But what I've thought about since then is that I think it's for me was powerful to be able to express myself using my mouth because I have stuttered for my whole life. Speaking is often and still is, but especially when I was that age, very fraught and
I can imagine. Yeah.
yeah, like lot of challenges in
Sure.
navigating stuttering and speaking and being being 13 years old, you know.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think there was
It's not easy for
maybe
anybody, little
totally,
13 is you.
absolutely, exactly, you know, yeah, just a very hard age, you know. So I think I wonder if maybe part of my pleasure in it was being able to use my mouth to express
Right.
myself. Um, yeah, but it's been with me, yeah, since I was 13. I'm 36 now, and my family. I have a really big extended family on my mom's side, and they all pooled their money together. I think when I was 14 or 15 to buy me a saxophone because I had
That's
been
nice.
renting up to them. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was very and it's very meaningful for me because I still use that saxophone that they bought me.
Cool.
I had always kind of planned on because it's kind of marketed as like an intermediate saxophone that and the
Right.
kind of assumption is if you become a professional you'll maybe get you know a more
Yeah.
advanced one or whatever. And I had thought that I would do that, but I never did. I just stick with the one that they bought me. So and my grandparents are dead and they you know they contributed to buying it, so I feel like they're you know
Sure. It's kind of a
helping me through
connection.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. That
Yeah.
makes sense. And so, what drew you to jazz at the age of like 12? Because that ain't normal.
Well, yeah, thank you for asking. Well, you know, I think part of it is actually because my mom didn't allow my brother and I to listen to any music with lyrics unless the
Right.
lyrics had to do um with Christianity. We were raised in the church, and she had a very like rigorous policy that the only if you're listening to
Gotcha.
music with lyrics, it has to be gospel music, basically. So
Yep.
you know, so that limited what I was able to listen to, so I started listening to, you know, a lot of European classical music, a lot of the instrumental stuff, and even opera. I started listening to. She would let me listen to opera because I couldn't understand the words, you know.
I
And
like
then
that.
jazz too. I started listening to instrumental, you know,
Sure.
instrumental
Sure.
jazz.
Yep.
So I think that was part of it. It was you know,
That's interesting.
but I think I connected with, you know, I think I connected with it on levels that I'm not quite sure how to articulate. But I just like was drawn to it. I think I was drawn to the role that improvisation plays in it. I mean, I probably didn't have the language for that, but when I
Right.
started playing the saxophone, I immediately was drawn to improvising, and improvising is still the basis of how I make music. You know, so yeah, so it's also kind of mysterious to me, but um, yeah, yeah.
All right. Now, now back to the album. Tell me about the structure because you have four different tracks of even songs, parts 1 through 4. kind of, and in between those are two other tracks. Is
Mm-hmm.
it kind of a concept album? What's the meaning behind the structure?
Yes, yes, thank you. Yeah, for that question. Um, so Even Song as a piece, as a four-part piece, existed from 2020. I made it in 2020, and it originally was a video. It was like a music video, and the fourth part was actually different than the fourth part that's on the album. Um, so it existed as a coherent piece, and then over the years since 2020, I was interested in releasing it as an audio version on a record, and so but it's just like 9 minutes long or something. So I was like, well, what could it be paired with? And last year I did some recording at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and recorded Vesper Sparrow and Savannah Sparrow, those two tracks. And so I started listening to Even Song and then those two tracks together, and I was like, oh, like I like the way that they kind of fit together. But when I would listen to when I had the sequence of Even Song in its entirety, all four movements, and then Vesper Sparrow and then Savannah Sparrow, it felt the kind of sequencing didn't feel quite what I was going for, because just like the way the energy kind of moved through the album.
Sure.
So I experimented with with making Even Song last, but I really wanted the opening of Even Song to be the opening of the record. So I just would play around with different sequencing. And something that I've been interested in general, in life in general, and also in music, is when I am using my voice, my spoken voice in my work, and when I thus stutter in my work, I'm interested in the way that the stutter creates this kind of gap, this kind of space where something feels like there's like a kind of an indeterminacy, and something can happen in this space. So I got interested. Actually, I was like, well, if I'm going to split up Even Song, maybe I'll do it in the middle of a stutter. And so I then experimented with that, and so that's what happens. The track 2 ends in the middle of a stutter, and then
in the middle
track
of
5,
the
picks
music.
up.
The music, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So so I was kind of curious and kind of honoring the stutter as kind of a structuring thing.
Yep. Yeah. All righty. And are all the sounds made on the record made by you, or do you have other people playing with you?
Most of them are made by me. The ones that aren't are at the top of track 3, from the top to about 1 minute and 30 seconds or so, is a granular synthesis version of a recording that I had made with some musicians and friends of mine in 2018. So, and that's actually the earliest layer of the album. The album has been I've been making it since 2018. And so those musicians are Star Busby, Ronald Pete, though they're both singing. James Harrison Monaco plays piano, and then Haruna Lee is on flute. And so there's the sound that opens that track is a granular synthesis processed excerpt from that. It was a live show that we did together. But everything else, is me. But also the mixing engineers, Graham Duncan and Angel Markloyd, they did so much to shape the sound. And I think also Graham also did some distorted guitar in track 3 as well. And then Heba Kadri, who mastered it, so there's so many people who shape the sound, but the instruments are mainly played by me, except for that part.
So do you do live performances of this?
Yes. Yeah. That's what I'm doing right now.
Because it sounds like a lot of it is studio manipulation and things that are created once, one time only. So.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I don't tend to do Even Song live very much. I'll focus usually on the middle two tracks. And usually what I do is I'll either play the piano and sing and sing together, or I'll play, and if there's an organ, I'll play the organ and sing.
Right.
But also, I have an organ. Recording, not from this album, but actually from a record I'm working on now. That I'll play the recording and then play the saxophone over top of that
Gotcha.
recording.
Yeah.
So
It's
so
interesting
I
because
kind
it
of
used to be, it used to be kind of a gimmick that people would kind of play along with pre-recorded tracks and samples and all that. But now
yeah
it's like normal. Nobody thinks twice about it. And
yeah
before it was kind of looked like as cheating almost, or
right
trickery.
right yeah exactly yeah. But lately I tend to like the bulk of the show is not using a track. I've been using a track much rarely lately. I mean, earlier parts of my touring, I would use one more, but lately I've been more interested in the kind of sparseness that happens when it's usually just me during the show,
Yep.
and so I kind of trying to embrace the minimalism of just the piano, my voice, or just my voice, or just the saxophone.
Right. And I noticed, especially during Savannah's Sparrow, there's a bit of droning going on as well, which I
Yeah.
always kind of like. Is that something that appeals to you as well?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, especially with, I mean, yeah, particularly with a pipe organ. I love just
Oh
like
yeah.
getting to just like soak up those vibrations.
Oh well, it's interesting you say that. I joined a choir this year. It's a massive choir, and we had a performance in the Auckland Town Hall, which has
Oh,
a
wow.
pipe organ that's like huge, like about
Wow.
50 feet. I don't know. And because I was in
Wow.
the bass section, I was standing like this far away from it, and they had somebody playing it. And we had a dress rehearsal, and I wasn't looking at it because I was looking the other way. And suddenly the guy started playing it, and I could feel it, man. It
Oh,
was like
oh,
nothing like it.
what an amazing feeling. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yep, yep,
I love
yeah.
especially
So
those
what?
really big organs where the pipes can be so big that you feel it, but you don't even really hear it, you know?
Yep,
Or
yep.
it sounds
That's
like a
exactly what it's like.
helicopter, like it can be so slow. Yeah.
That's
Incredible.
one of those. Yeah. So what are you working on? You say you're working on some new music now. What kind of thing are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing more. It's sort of following the trail of the middle two tracks. So
Okay.
more piano, more organ, more singing.
Right.
Um, moving more in that direction. So just doing and expanding to a couple other old hymns. So I'm doing more with the Sparrow song, but also with a couple other
Right.
hymns.
And the
Yeah.
Sparrow song is the hymn. His eye is on the sparrow. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. I assume nowadays you listen to more than just gospel music and instrumental music. What else do you listen to?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I have recently been listening to um NTS radio just in general.
Right.
But particularly the other day I was listening to the Raga Vibrations show, and I have long loved listening to Raga.
Uh
Um,
huh.
so I'll listen to that and yeah, like some North Indian musicians like Yuja Devi, um, and also the the Pakistani musician um, Abida Perveen as well, and also I've inherited my grandparents' records
Oh, nice.
collection. My dad's dad especially he loved calypso and soca and reggae, so I've like slowly been just like listening back through his
Right.
records. Yeah,
Right. Because you
yeah,
have some Jamaican descendants. Is that correct?
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Grenadian
Right.
too. Yeah,
And
exactly.
Grenadian. Right. Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, that's very cool. Well, and do you do much traveling around the world, or do you stay mostly in the States? Or
Yeah, it's a lot of I tend to stay in the States. I'll go to Europe and play a couple
Right.
times a year. But yeah, mainly in the States and Canada some too. Yeah, but I travel a lot in the States too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you get down to this part of the world and come and play our giant pipe organ.
Yes, I would love to. I've never been to that part of the world. I would like to go.
It's different.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
its own place. I'll tell you that. Yeah. All
Yeah.
righty. Well, I'll let you go, but thank you for sharing all that with me. I really appreciate it. And
Oh.
I love the record is very different than what most
Mm,
folks around here are listening to. So
mm.
it's good to hear something that's a change.
Oh, I appreciate you, Marty. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode of the 13th Floor's Music Talk series, please be sure to subscribe to the website or to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. There's a whole lot more to discover.